Okay, man, are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go. Now, come on, now crank this motherfucker up.
Break it down like this.
Hello, Internet. Gino, that Pinguino Greco here again with another episode of Deep Listens, and today we are going to be discussing a good game for the first time in forever. We are going to be discussing Portal 2 in our grand tradition of only playing the second games of series. We are covering Portal 2, the 2011 Game of the Year at many places. And joining me, as always, to discuss video games, Pete Busby. Hello, Pete.
Hey, how's it going? This is one of the funnier games we've played in a long time. It's nice to see. Fun fact this week, it's going to actually be fun because we played a fun game. It's about geckos. Like the Geico gecko.
Like Gex?
So, yes, exactly. Another famous gecko. Probably the only two famous geckos there are. But geckos, very sticky. You know, they're very good at running on walls and ceilings and things. But the interesting thing about geckos is they can turn their stickiness on or off.
What?
Yeah. So they use these hairs on their feet, which they can sort of activate or not activate. So when they need to run fast, turn it off. When they need to use them, turn them on. And then they can, run around on walls and such.
That's very good.
Yeah, there's a lot of complicated science behind it about van der Waals forces. I don't know all that. Yeah, they're weak atomic level forces. You can do research on that on your own. But geckos, long story short, can turn their stuff on and off.
So I because you said that there are no other famous geckos, I Googled famous geckos.
What do we got?
And
I did the same thing.
It brought me to Wikipedia's list of fictional reptiles. And in lizards, I haven't found another famous gecko yet, but I'm happy to inform you that someone has chronicled every single famous lizard or reptile or turtle.
That is a lot of lizards.
Chet gecko, which is apparently a book gecko from the Chameleon War Chartreuse. So think about that next time you think that there are no other famous geckos. I've
never heard of him or her, I guess.
It.
I don't know what gecko genders are like, I guess. So I'm going to say not that famous. I'm making a ruling.
Okay. All right. I'm going to keep looking. If I find anyone else, Gex is on this list, just to make that clear. That other voice you heard earlier is the mistress of games herself, M. Palladino. Hello, M. How's it going?
Hello. Well, it's going. It's a sad week here at our house. We had a pet death in the family, so I'm sad, but I'm here to talk about Portal 2, which I would have liked more if it wasn't for the events in my life.
Yeah, R.I.P. Do you want to say... I feel like listeners of the show are very aware of the animal because she was often present in podcasts, whether we wanted her to or not.
We had to say goodbye to Samson this past week. So
very sorry to hear that.
Yeah. If you go back to the last show, the Getting Over It show, she was saying hi as she did. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you heard a meow in the background of one of these podcasts, it was Samson, a true champion. You may remember her.
She's famous
from resetting your copy of Vagrant Story as you were making progress. She stepped on your keyboard, pressing the exact key to reset.
Reset it.
Just a true champion of a cat.
Indeed.
She will be very missed.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, but I don't want to be sad. We're going to talk about a good game.
A happy game where nothing bad happens.
Yeah. Nothing bad ever happens.
Yep. Well, If you wanted to get in touch with the show, you could do so at Deep Listens Pod on Twitter, deeplistens.libsyn.com. We have our comment sections, and deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com. That's where you could send your emails in remembrance of Samson if you so chose, for any well wishes. You can also support the show on patreon.com/deeplistens. And we are still reminding folks to, if you're in a position to do so, please do donate to the National Network of Abortion Funds. Reproductive rights in the U.S. are still as under assault as they've ever been. So if you're in a position to do so, please do check out the link at the bottom of the show notes. Make a donation if you can. So earlier I mentioned the Discord that you get access to if you join the Patreon. And if you were to do that, you could end up on the Discord report.
The Discord report. Boop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop. Bless you. This week on the Discord, we're doing stuff. Gino, you're still getting ready for a 5-job fiesta.
4-job fiesta. You get it right.
Oh, right. Sorry. The 3-job fiesta.
How dare you? Yeah, I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy V because we're going to be doing a 4-job fiesta for the upcoming Giant Bomb Community Endurance Run, running from April 21st to 23rd. That is the current planned date. And what makes it a 4x4 job fiesta, you may ask? Well, there are going to be 4 people each doing a 4-job fiesta, hence the 4x4 job fiesta. We will be doing it instead of a traditional 4-job fiesta where it is randomized what jobs we get. We are going to be doing a draft. So 4 people will start at the same time. We'll be doing simultaneous runs. And we're going to do it in a kind of draft format where someone will get first pick of jobs, then second, then third, then fourth. And we will do that for each of the 4 crystals.
What's your first round pick, Gino? Who are you going with first?
For which batch of crystals? Which batch
I
of
already
jobs?
don't have answers to your questions.
Okay, so my first pick of first picks is probably Chemist or Samurai or Blue Mage. One of those 3 is probably the best job. They're all very good for similar reasons. They just fundamentally break the game in some way, shape, or form. Samurais get to kill people with money. You throw money at people until they die, and it
Feels like a weird power for a samurai.
It is, but it's very powerful. You do a lot of unblockable damage that doesn't care about your opponent's defense all that much, and it hits everyone. So it's very powerful. Chemist has an ability that allows you to dial up your level, or actually you can make it so your character's stats are that of a level 99 character, even if your level is very low. You can also double your HP, which is pretty messed up.
Yeah, that seems really good.
Yeah, it's gross. It's very powerful. And the Blue Mage has the ability to instantly kill almost anything in the game if you know what you're doing.
That also sounds very good.
Via death by math. You basically...
Does anyone just stab things in this game?
There are characters who just stab things, but these are not the ones that just stab things. The Blue Mage, you basically adjust your opponent's level until their level is a multiple of 5, and then you cast level 5 Death, because level 5 Death ignores all invulnerabilities if the opponent's level is a multiple of 5. So it's a lot of just doing tedious math to adjust someone's level to exactly right, and then snap your fingers and they're dead. Which is very fun. It's very weird. And then there's other good jobs. But the other little quirk to the 4x4 job fiesta is that each of the 4 of the runners will be playing a different version of Final Fantasy V because it's been re-released so many times. So I'm going to be playing the PlayStation 1 version of FF5. The current runners that we are planning are Braden Arbitrary Water Redacted from Off the Deep End. He's going to be playing the Pixel Remaster that was just released last year. Chris Zombie Pie Redacted, the second Redacted brother, will be playing the shitty mobile version, which if you've ever seen the mobile version of FF5, it's hideous. I don't think you can even buy it on Steam anymore. He just still has a copy because he's a monster. And then
I have a copy, I think.
Our Discord member, Jatsu, who is also a longtime Community Endurance Run member, is going to be playing the Game Boy Advanced version. So you will get 4 different Final Fantasy V experiences on top of the 4-job fiesta nonsense. So it's going to be a good time. The translations are different. The graphics are different. The glitches are also different in each of them. Some of them have glitches, some of them don't. So it'll be very interesting. Other things going on in the Discord. Zeto, one of our community members, has been playing Final Fantasy XI from start to finish and has been posting like screenshots from that game. And you know what? Maybe we didn't give that game enough of a chance.
This seems to be the recommended way to experience Final Fantasy XI, which is have someone tell you the good parts.
Yep.
If there is a funny joke, get the screenshot of that. But I could not imagine. I don't actually know how long they've been at it at this point.
Zeto,
but I know
like
they're
3 weeks, I think, but they've gotten through a lot of content, and I'm learning that some of these characters seem pretty cool. Some of the story events seem pretty cool, but I'm not going back and playing more of it. But this is the perfect way to consume it on the Discord via screenshots.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to call out? You've been playing Marvel Snap still. How's that going?
I'm still playing it. I have, let's see, about 15 cards left in Pool 3. It was a rough month for Marvel Snap because I did not get the Silver Surfer card, who is, I should have known, broken as fuck. And he did not get nerfed, so that was unfortunate.
Well,
so every deck that I came
across,
every deck I came across was playing Silver Surfer in some form. Not all of them, but it seemed like it.
The ones that win.
Yeah, the ones that were good. Because you just play a bunch of 3-drops, and when you play Silver Surfer, he makes all your 3-drops increase their power by 3. And so it's just exponential growth. And then if you play something like Wong, which makes their on-reveal effects happen twice, then it does it for 6. And if you play something like Brood, which makes 2 clones of itself when you play it, that is like...
And how much does it cost? 3?
3.
Oh,
yeah.
Damn.
Yep. Everything costs 3 in the deck, so... You could do that on the last turn, and I have no way to see that coming. And then you just pump it for up to like 18, maybe 32 if you... Or, I don't know. There's some math there.
There's stuff can happen. Wong can be on a place that also doubles up, and then you quadruple.
Yeah.
It gets bad. It can get very bad for you.
You can play Wong, and then you play Mystique, and then you play something that doubles their doubling, and then...
Silver Surfer.
Yeah, and then you play Silver Surfer, and it's over. So that was rough. So I did not get very far this time, but I've got some ideas for next month. So maybe we'll show some progress. But fingers crossed, I break this habit soon, because there's not many cards left to get, and... I don't know what I'm going to do once I get them all. So
live a life of leisure.
I'll have to find a new game to play.
Yep. Yeah, and we did also have a good laugh at Facebook / Meta losing a bunch of money on the Oculus.
Ah, yes.
In the video games channel.
That's always a classic.
Pete, how much do you think that the VR division lost in just last year?
So does that include, is that like the Meta division?
This is Meta's VR division. Just the
okay,
VR.
I know Meta, like, oh wait, am I thinking of the VR? Like the metaverse stuff.
Yes.
They lost a ton of money on that. It's like, I don't know, 10 billion or something?
More, 13.72 billion.
Jesus. That's so much money.
I like the art on that is just Mark Zuckerberg shoveling money into a fire with a bunch of Oculuses around him.
Yeah, it's very good.
It's accurate.
Yeah, so he look, I respect VR as a concept.
I don't.
I've played good VR games, I should say. I've played VR games where I was like, this is a cool thing. I would like to do more of this. But the metaverse concept, the part they're trying to do, do either of you remember PlayStation Home?
Yes.
No.
Okay. PlayStation Home was basically the metaverse, but only for the Sony PlayStation 3.
Yep.
You would go on there. It
It wasn't VR. It was just like you had your little guy.
You had a little avatar, and you were running around a heavily branded experience where there'd be like, here's the Tonka truck zone, and you could play a game that was branded around Tonka trucks, and then it'd be like, oh well, are you gonna head over with your friends to the, I don't know, Sly Cooper zone? Sly Cooper came out last month, so the Sly Cooper zone's there, and you could buy a house in PlayStation Home and buy all of these digital accessories and hang out with your friends and watch. Like, you could sit in a digital movie theater where they would play a like movie on a screen away from you. It's eerily similar to the metaverse concept. And it failed. Weirdly enough, it failed stupendously. It was a giant waste of time and money. And so it's amazing to see just all the same bad decisions being made 15 years later. But hey, if there's anything I've learned from Silicon Valley's recent string of losses, it's that you learn nothing from what happened 15 years ago in that place. All right, so I think that's it for the Discord report. I think it is time for my obsession of the week, and my obsession of the week is very straightforward. Have either of you ever watched the show, the Netflix anime show, Record of Ragnarok?
Oh, hell yeah. Season 2, baby.
Yes.
I have not, actually.
This is not.
This is one of the one times Pete's heard of it, and I haven't.
So here's the pitch. It's the end of the world. All of the gods voted that humanity should not continue anymore. We've been too shitty. They're sick of us. And so some Valkyries go, hey, aren't we supposed to have some sort of giant tournament at the end of days to see if humanity deserves to exist via combat? And they're like, yeah, fine, sure. Actually, first they're like, nah, we would smoke them. Let's just end this thing. And then the Valkyries are like, well, it seems like you're a little baby, and you don't want to fight them because you're scared. So it is a tournament between gods and historical figures. So say, for example, the first bout is between Thor and Lu Bu from the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Perhaps you've played Dynasty Warriors. Do you know Lu Bu? He has the spear and rides a horse all the time. But he fights Thor. We get Adam from Adam and Eve. Adam
from the Bible. Maybe you've heard of it.
Hold on. What does he do?
Adam?
He's got super eyes.
Yeah, he's got. So you see, Adam was made in the image of God, right?
Okay.
So anything a god can do, Adam can do.
Oh.
So he's
That's
a mimic. He's a mimic character.
But like better too.
He's a mirror match.
Huh.
So you get
Is his
Zeus.
one weakness that he has one rib removed, and so you hit him there, and then he goes down.
No, they don't stick to like the biblical story very closely. Like the snake isn't like really a snake; it's like a wizard, and it wants to get with Eve.
Sure.
It's the whole thing.
Yeah, Adam was framed. Adam and Eve were framed. It was a frame job. There's a lot of really good historical inaccuracies. You get, oh boy. So the champion, in the first episode, they tell you the list of who's fighting. And like, the humans that they pick, well, one, they skew very Japanese. I would say 5 out of the 13. And it's a best of 13. First to 7 wins. And it skews very Japanese. You got a lot of swordsmen. You got a sumo guy. You've got like some philosophers, etc. So Jack the Ripper is on humanity's side. He's one of the champions.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Are we just drawing from all of history?
Yeah.
Just like
Yes.
pulling people out?
Yep.
Okay.
Jack
Whoever
the
we
Ripper.
want.
Whoever we want.
Sure.
Humanity's greatest warriors, Jack the Ripper.
Yep.
I was hoping
He's
Jesus
known
would
for
show
murder.
up, and they wouldn't know which side to put him on.
Oh, well, have you finished season 2 yet?
I have.
You have? Yeah.
Yeah, there is a nice twist.
There is a nice. There are a couple of nice twists along those lines.
Yes.
But yeah, like Nikola Tesla is on the roster. I don't know how he's going to fight because he's just a scientist.
Lightning powers, probably. I don't know.
Probably. Nostradamus is on there.
Nostradamus is what a weird list.
Yeah. They got the world's greatest sumo wrestler, one of the greatest Japanese swordsmen. King Leonidas is on there. So yeah, it's a dumb show. It's profoundly stupid and very funny. I enjoy every moment where they're like, "Oh my God, Adam's using his move. Oh, he's got his sick eyes. He can see everything." Just every character so far has had at least one great line, and I recommend it. It's a fun show. It's goofy. It doesn't take itself too seriously. So if you have Netflix, check it out. You already have access to Record of Ragnarok. All right. So without further ado, let's start discussing Portal 2. Eh?
Almost.
It rhymed.
It was pretty close.
It was a slant rhyme, but I'll
It was
take
slant
it.
rhyme. It was good. It was good.
Em, why don't you explain what's a Portal 2?
So Portal 2 is the sequel to the hit Valve game Portal, which is about making portals to solve physics puzzles. That's about as straightforward as I can describe it. The entire time you were in a testing facility run by a evil robot who is a lady robot.
Yeah.
Hashtag
girl boss.
Groundbreaking. GLaDOS, for anyone who has been on the internet. She is the one who has been torturing you. And eventually you defeat her and break out into the world, which might have had an apocalypse or something. It's unclear. Portal 2 puts you back in that facility, and then you're going to have to work your way out again because GLaDOS gets turned back on. You have a buddy named Wheatley who is trying to help you, and then, well, there's a twist.
Perhaps there's a twist.
We'll talk about it. Once again, if you've been on the internet, you probably know what we're going to say.
You probably know most of this stuff.
This game is from 2011, so it's been a little bit.
This game doesn't have cake, so it's not the cake is a lie bit.
Yeah.
But there are other bits.
Thank God they didn't bring that back.
Yeah, thank goodness. They brought back confetti, but they did not bring back the cake. They did bring back the companion cube, though. Only one or two callbacks.
Yeah, I mean, you sort of need that for the puzzles, though. You don't need cake to solve them.
That's true.
Well, the companion cube is a very specific, the one with the heart on it.
That's fair.
Yeah, so beginning of the game, you are the same character from Portal 1. You are awoken in a containment facility where you are instructed to look at stand up, do calisthenics, appreciate art so that your mental acuity does not go away, and then you just basically get set into motion with Wheatley to try and overthrow GLaDOS, and you're doing puzzles again. So I guess to start, what was y'all's exposure to Portal? Pete, how much did you play Portal 1? What was your familiarity?
No, mine exclusively through internet memes.
Okay, and did you play Portal 1?
I did, yeah. I played it a few times, probably. It's only 4 hours long, so.
Okay, so as Pete, as one of the 3 people left on Earth who didn't play Portal 1, how did you find Portal 2? Were you confused about what was going on? Did you feel like you missed something?
No, I knew most of the backstory already. The only thing I had to look up was what happened to GLaDOS at the end of Portal. Just to sort of level set where I'm at now. I mean, I knew she was mean. I knew I was in some sort of facility she was in charge of. And I knew I was going to have to use portals to solve puzzles. Why I was solving those puzzles, I didn't know. But the game sort of tells you why later on. I don't know if Portal 1 told you.
Yeah, I mean, it's much more like you are in this facility They don't give any context of the facility other than it's clearly derelict. Like, at first, it seems like you're just in a facility doing tests. The break at the end of Portal 1 is you eventually break out of one of the test chambers and you go into a more organic feeling layout, like you're kind of escaping the facility, and you find that, like, every room is empty. Like, there are no people. So, like, the whole time you were seeing one-way glass and stuff like that, where it seemed like there should have been someone watching you do the tests, and then, you know, mask off. It's been one robot the whole time. Everyone else is dead. So this game kind of picks up from there. It's just like, yeah, everyone's dead. You're just running tests. And Wheatley's around. So what did you think of Wheatley as your new kind of as a companion? Like, the first game is very solitary.
Yeah. I trusted him implicitly. No, that's not true. Fuck that guy. I mean, this is another thing that you would find out if you were on the internet. Wheatley is going to seem like he's helping you at the beginning, and then maybe he is helping you, maybe he's fucking shit up. And then at a halfway point, he becomes GLaDOS, and then he takes control of the facility, and you have to take him down, and he gets sent to space. Spoilers.
Yeah, he's another AI sphere.
Yeah, in the first one, there were like these personality spheres that were in GLaDOS, and then you had to like take them out of her in order to like get rid of her personalities.
Make her stupider.
Yeah, it made her dumber, and then at the end, you like, I don't know, she explodes.
You threw them all in a fire, and then she then she dies.
Yep, she like runs out of processing power because they were handling all of her automation. So, and Wheatley is one of those.
Yep, he is an alternate sphere. So, Pete, as someone who didn't play the first game, how did you find the ramp up of the game's mechanics? Like, I believe the very first sections with Wheatley, you are largely just portaling around, very straightforward. And then as you start getting tests, once GLaDOS comes back online, you're largely doing physics puzzles and interacting with blocks, lasers, and I think that's kind of it for the first section of the game.
Yeah, honestly, so the difficulty spikes aren't too bad. You know what I mean? So, like, as they introduce new mechanics, it sort of makes sense. The issue is sort of like a mind shift at the beginning. Mm-hmm. Like, you have to start thinking in portals, which is a strange way to think. Like, most of the time you're like, oh, walls are walls. I can't just walk through them in my daily life. So you don't think about that possibility. Once I was able to sort of reorient my brain to say, like, oh, okay, basically surfaces aren't surfaces, they're portals. Things got a little bit smoother. But that initial sort of shift took a little while.
Did you say thinking with portals because that was the whole thing from the first one? Or did you come to that conclusion yourself? Because that
Maybe
was like,
just sort of,
yeah, you might have osmosis that from the internet.
It was recessed in one of my brain folds somewhere, and it just sort of popped back out.
No, you should have been like, I came up with that myself. What do you mean?
Yeah.
That's it. They ripped me off.
Yeah.
10, 12 years ago.
Do not steal.
Copyright. Not a Post-it note. Yeah, so like, I think coming back to this game, I had not played it since it first came out pretty much. It took my brain a little bit to get reoriented. But I find that in this game, there are only like a handful of types of puzzles. The types of puzzles tend to be get this thing from point A to point B using portals, like use a laser to move use a portal to move a laser somewhere where it wouldn't ordinarily be able to get to. Move a cube, move some goo, move a light beam. The thing that you need to move is different. Or find ways to accelerate yourself using portals and momentum. And like, I think 90% of the puzzles kind of boil down into one of those two genres, and they'll combine them. Like, eventually the later puzzles will ask you to both move things around and then accelerate yourself. But it's kind of interesting that they have a lot of their mechanics boil down to different ways to give yourself momentum. So like the ways you can accelerate yourself, you can use a launcher, which is a new mechanic for this game. They basically fling you at a set speed at a set location. So one of the tricks is always, I bet that place is a wall. And if I put a portal there and I put another portal someplace else, I will carry my momentum forward and it will allow me to jump the appropriate height to a target. Another way is if you are jumping off of a cliff towards a portalable surface, that's another way you can gain a bunch of momentum. There's eventually an orange goo that lets you run very fast. That also, if you put a portal at the end of that, that will also accelerate you a bunch and then let you shoot out like a cannon. So like I found that once my brain wrapped my mind around either I need to get a thing from A to B in an unintuitive portal-y way, or I need to make myself go fast using portals, I found that a lot of the other puzzles just kind of fell into place. Like I would just think, okay, that's a place that's high up. This is an acceleration puzzle. Okay, this is a target I need to hit. This is a redirection puzzle. Em, did you think similarly, or did you have a different experience?
No, that was pretty much what I was thinking. The like the changes that they have made, like the orange goo, there's also blue goo, which is like bouncy. That was like some new stuff to play with for people who already played the first one. And then if you just liked the physics-based stuff, there was plenty of that to like bounce around. It felt very a lot more streamlined in the section that I played because I didn't finish it. Don't tell Gino. It felt like it was a little bit more like curated than the first one. The first one has you like doing a lot more of like the same basic mechanics because they only had like use more momentum, do a cool jump, blast a portal on the other side of this thing while you're flying through the air, that sort of thing. And then they had a lot more stuff to play with in this one because they had that Valve money. They had that we made a really good game in the orange box, and they could sort of splurge and make some neat stuff. I also feel like this one was a little bit more generous with like if you aimed a portal at a location, there was like some snapping that was going on, which I only noticed because I was pretty sure that I wasn't going to make it for some jumps. And then I would fire my portal gun, and then it would like snap into exactly the right place to make you land on the other side safely. So I was like, I think they were a little bit more generous than in the first one. They did some more back-end stuff to make it easier, from what I could tell.
Yeah,
Professional opinion.
I found that I definitely was not missing or having finicky results with my shots quite as much in this game as I did in Portal 1. And yeah, it's a very streamlined experience. They didn't feel like they needed to have as many tutorial puzzles because people had played Portal 1. So they kind of just jump you to the fun puzzles in a lot of cases, instead of just like A plus B equals C. They start out with multiplication way faster and division. Metaphorically speaking.
They don't expect us who are like, let's start with the second one in the series. They're like, everyone on Earth has played Portal, right?
Have you heard of the cake?
You remember the cake?
Yeah. So were there any puzzles that stuck out to you as especially devious, especially difficult, that you maybe got stuck on, and what made you get stuck? Pete, do you have any that spring to mind?
Sure. I don't have like a specific like 15 or whatever, but I remember some of the laser puzzles being maybe some of the most cumbersome.
Yeah.
Like there's one where there's like I don't know, like 6 or 7 laser beams you have to like account for, and they're all crisscrossing all over the place.
Oh
Once I
yeah.
found myself moving stuff besides me, I found myself struggling more.
Yeah, I get that. I remember that one. You have to like portal onto a surface, and then you have to redirect laser beams with a cube,
Yeah.
and you have to kind of do both at the same time.
Yeah, it's all cubes too. It's always
Yep.
cubes.
Yep, when in doubt, cubes. Any jump to mind for you? I remember you said you started playing this game a bunch of years ago. You got stuck on the same exact puzzle.
Yeah. It was there is right before you, I think it's right before Wheatley turns on you. There's a puzzle where there is 2 cubes in a room with lasers, and there's 3 spots you need to hit with lasers, which are on like another wall. And I got to that one, and I was like, it's late at night. I'm gonna put it to bed for now, because I was like, I don't think I'm smart enough to do this at this moment. And then I went to save my game, and I had saved my game literally at the exact same puzzle in 2014 or something, maybe 2016. So I was like, I see. This is just this is just the wall that I hit.
9 years, I'm no smarter. Damn it.
Yeah, I have
Damn
not
it.
improved in the slightest. And then I went back to it, and I was like, oh, I just have to, like, yeah, I smartened up. I figured out how to do it.
Yeah, that one's a little
I-
tough because there's no other part in the game up until that point where you have to shoot lasers through glass.
Yeah,
And the trick for that puzzle is you need to shoot the laser beam through the glass to blow up the drones.
oh no, not that one.
Oh, not
It's
that one? Okay.
a little bit later, a little bit further. It's like there's like 3 of those laser like things you need to hit in a line
Mhm.
on a wall, and then a whole bunch of lasers crossing each other.
Oh, that's the
Uh,
one that Pete got caught on. Okay.
Is it?
Yes, it's a terrible puzzle.
Probably.
Terrible.
Probably. Yeah, you just gotta fire the lasers all through one portal
Yep.
in a very specific arrangement.
Yeah,
So-
you need to aim through the portal. You think that you need to like go cube into cube or something, but no, it's all through that one portal at different angles. But yeah, that one was a tough one. I actually got stuck on that puzzle I was talking about with the glass because I forgot that you could shoot lasers through glass.
Mhm.
I was treating glass like it was a regular wall, and that I was like, how do I kill these guys? They keep shooting me.
They're hurting me.
They really want me dead.
Hmm.
And then the final puzzle in Old Aperture. I got a little stuck on that one where you have to. It's the first one where you really get the white goo that lets you make portals anywhere. Because like my first move, the first time I played the game was cover everything in white goo, so that everything is portalable. But that didn't I spent so much time trying to get the goo on everything that I wasn't thinking about how to use the goo. You know what I mean? I was thinking about what I could put goo
Yeah, you
on,
gotta
but
use the
not
goo.
why.
It's about the goo applications.
Yeah, I spread the white goo everywhere, but I didn't think why. You know. So that puzzle.
Someone put that in the out of context quotes, please. Thank you.
So that was that I got a little stuck on that again in my second playthrough, but figured it out much faster. So I think the puzzle's definitely interesting, but this game, if we did not, if it was just the puzzles, it would not be as renowned as it is. It's really the comedy and the writing that sells Portal. So this game was written by Eric Wolpaw, famous for Psychonauts, Portal 1, Left 4 Dead, basically every well-written Valve game of the last 20 years, and also Psychonauts, was his work. And I think Portal 2, writing stands up 100%. The quotes, the references, like the jokes, And it's so hard to do comedy in games in a lot of cases. I think the fact that you basically get a one-liner at the beginning of every level and a one-liner at the end of every level makes the comedy delivery system a little bit easier in the Portal format than in other types of games. But they really knock it out of the park with what they have. That's for sure. Em, did you have any particular quotes that you enjoyed?
The one I put in the Discord, let me find it. That was the first one that I was like, oh, that's funny. Oh, here we go. That jumpsuit you're wearing looks stupid. That's not me talking. It's right here in your file. This is GLaDOS talking. On other people, it looks fine, but right here, a scientist has noted that on you, it looks stupid. Well, what does a neck-bearded old engineer know about fashion? He probably... Oh, wait, it's a she. Still, what does she know? Oh, wait, it says she has a medical degree. In fashion. From France.
That is a really good joke. GLaDOS has so many good ones. Another one of hers that I just forgot it now. Oh, another one of hers that I really liked was when they finished the test and just like, congrats, you're a horrible person. We weren't even testing for that, but it still showed up.
Classic.
Yeah,
My favorite.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say my favorite joke in the whole thing is from Wheatley. Like after he goes crazy, he's like putting you through tests, and he's talking about like how wonderful it is to finally have like an equal adversary to compete against. He's basically like, it's a tale as old as time. Shakespeare and Moriarty, Aristotle and a huge spiked wall. He slams the spiked wall at you. That was my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, Wheatley's just got... I love also the physical humor with Wheatley's really good. Like, I can't hack that wall if you're looking at me. You need to look away. And so the first time he hacks something, you have to turn away from him before he'll hack it. Then the second time, he's like, I'm going to hack something. You need to look away. When you turn back around, he's just smashed some glass with his face. Hacking this door. That's really good. There's a lot of... Cave Johnson is by far my favorite. So, like, the structure of this game, you start with Wheatley as your companion. You're doing basically defunct tests, and Wheatley is kind of delivering jokes at the beginning and the middle. Then you reactivate GLaDOS. She then becomes the person who's talking to you during levels. She's delivering jokes, just making fun of you. She's generally just insulting your appearance a lot and mentioning how you have no parents.
She's really mean in this one.
She is.
She insults your weight a little bit too much for my taste, I think. That wasn't very nice.
It is a little uncalled for. That's just mean-spirited.
It was, but yeah. I mean, I just really enjoy the look at you soaring through the air like an eagle, piloting a blimp.
Gino, are you going to give the Cave Johnson when life gives you lemon speech?
Oh, the lemons one is. I mean, I have a mug right next to me right now that is a lemon with a shaped like a grenade that Valve sold around this time.
So good.
I mean, the life. Yes, do it.
I have it. Can I read it?
You have the better voice for it. Go for it.
So early on he says, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. And then later on he corrects himself and goes, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Make life take the lemons back. Get mad. I don't want your damn lemons. What the hell am I supposed to do with these? Demand to see life's manager. Make life rue the day I thought it could give Cave Johnson lemons. Do you know who I am? I'm the man who's going to burn your house down with the lemons. I'm going to get my engineers to invent a combustible lemon that burns your house down. And GLaDOS listens to this and she's like, Cave Johnson really, he figured it out. He gets it.
Yeah. Get mad. Burn their house down. He's saying what we're all thinking. Yeah. I mean, Cave Johnson, so you get the GLaDOS section and then you get thrown into old Aperture. Wheatley takes over. GLaDOS gets put onto a potato. She becomes a potato battery-powered robot. And then you get kind of the old Aperture. And I think the old Aperture is really the storytelling crux of this whole game. Because in the first game, you're in this testing facility. You see this giant robot. Like, the tests are absurd, but you don't really have much context. And this game attempts to provide some context to what this facility is, what is this company. And did y'all spend any time in like the entrance room of old Aperture?
No.
Not really.
Okay, there's a trophy room in the like 1950s entrance, because Aperture is built. Everything is built on the old parts. They don't like move someplace new or get rid of the old stuff or clean anything up. They just dig a new hole and build slightly on top of where you were before. So the 1950s, they're basically running high, and the entrance, you know, it's all plush, like there's red carpets everywhere, and there's a picture of Cave Johnson. So in like 1949 or something, he was he was the number one curtain salesman in Idaho, I think. And then he starts a science company, with his curtain money. And then they start out with doing potato science. They have an award from Idaho for potato science. And then they become the number 2 military contractor in the world, next to Black Mesa, the company from Half-Life. And they become like the number 2 defense contractor from then on out. So they've got awards, but they're always in second. And it's clear that the person who's in charge just likes the idea of science and does not actually know anything about science. So like some of the great lines from this one is like, so they're rich at this point. So there's like, welcome, gentlemen, to Aperture Science. Astronauts, war heroes, Olympians. You're here because we want the best, and you're it. So who's ready to make some science?
There's the mantis DNA one too.
Oh, yes.
It's like you people who were assigned to be injected with mantis DNA, we now have a new excellent assignment for you to pick up the assault rifles and fight off an army of mantis men.
Yeah,
you will know when the test begins.
The test, it goes, those of you who volunteered to be injected with praying mantis DNA, I've got some good news and some bad news. Bad news is we're postponing the test indefinitely. Good news is we've got a much better test for you. Fighting an army of mantis men. Pick up a rifle and follow the yellow line. You'll know when the test starts. But I think the best, like, most appropriate quote for kind of explaining Aperture's very midwestern sensibility is, they say great science is built on the shoulders of giants. Not here. At Aperture, we do all our science from scratch. No hand-holding. and it's like the game in that trophy case, it says like Cave Johnson, number 1 curtain salesman, buys abandoned salt mine in northern Michigan. So it's like all very Midwestern, like pull yourself up from your bootstraps. Don't take any handouts, do everything the hard way. And a lot of this game is just structured on the what if we did it the hard way or the absurd way. Like, no one ever fixes a root cause of any problem. There's always a workaround or some just nonsense fix for a problem. Like, do you remember once you actually have to defeat GLaDOS the first time and like place Wheatley, do you remember how they determine whether a turret is a good turret or a bad turret?
They just match it to they have like a existing turret. They're like, yep, matches that.
Yep.
Exactly.
They have you fuck it up by putting in a, like, what would you even call it? It's not defective. They like built it entirely opposite from what it was supposed to look like.
I mean, they call it defective.
Yeah. It's like mean. Like the turrets are all nice and they're like, hello. And then that one is like, oh yeah, I don't have any bullets. I'm gonna get you.
They're just like, no bullets here. I'm blind. Is everyone else blind? Just me? Oh. So yeah, like instead of fixing the turret production line so that it doesn't make broken turrets, they have a master turret that they're comparing all the other turrets against, and then they're throwing the bad turrets into a giant like mulcher to destroy them. Like, it's all fixes like that. For example, there's a great quote from Cave Johnson that is just, for this next test, we put nanoparticles in the gel. In layman terms, there's a billion little gizmos that are going to travel into your bloodstream and pump experimental genes and RNA molecules and so forth into your tumors. Now, maybe you don't have any tumors. Well, don't worry. If you sat on a folding chair in the lobby and you weren't wearing lead underpants, we took care of that too.
It's very midwestern, and it's also very 1950s. Like there's this weird faith in like the progress of science to take care of all problems, even problems that science itself has created in the first place. So like it's like whenever people talk about global warming and they're like, look, the solution to global warming is just to shoot a whole bunch of tiny bits of silver into the atmosphere to reflect the sunlight back. And you're like, wait, hang on a second. What? Then we just have millions of pieces of metal in the atmosphere? And they're like, yeah, but we'll deal with that. We'll deal with that.
Yeah, it is that logic all the way down. And also it captures the great like 1950s sociopathic science testing as well. Like some, what is the name of that military program where they were giving people LSD and weed and stuff?
MK Ultra.
MK Ultra. Yes, the that movie that came out recently also that was based on that same thing with Jesse Eisenberg. So MK Ultra, like a lot of that sort of stuff, like another great quote. All right, let's get started. This first test involves something the lab boys called repulsion gel. You're not part of the control group, by the way. You get the gel. Last poor son of a gun got blue paint. All joking aside, that did happen. Broke every bone in his legs. Tragic, but informative. Or so I'm told. Like, okay, yeah, of course, we need to have a control test, and the control test is to have someone screaming 50 miles per hour at the ground with with nothing to protect them. Oh, we learned that if you land on the ground with no protection, you shatter your legs. Very informative.
Which is why you have neat boots in the current timeline. Because they were like, if you land without these, you're going to shatter all your bones. So that's how they fixed that.
Another great one. All the science spheres are made of asbestos, by the way. Keeps out the rats. Let us know if you feel a shortness of breath, a persistent dry cough, or your heart stopping. Because that's not part of the test. That's asbestos. Yeah, good news is the lab boys say the symptoms of asbestos poisoning show a median latency of 44.6 years. So if you're 30 or older, you're laughing. Worst case scenario, you miss out on a few rounds of canasta, plus you forward the cause of science by 3 centuries. I punch those numbers into my calculator, makes a smiley face.
Like, you can tell, like, this game's hilarious. Like, we spent all day just reading quotes from it. They're all great.
Yeah, and J.K. Simmons voices Cave Johnson and just does a bang-up job. But I just love the progression. Like, 1950s, they're high on the ham. High on the ham?
High on
That's
the hog.
the phrase, right? High on the hog?
It's high on the hog, yeah.
They're high on the hog. Everything's good. They're the number 2 military contractor in the U.S. government. They're throwing people against goos that may or may not protect them. They're getting volunteers who are astronauts, and the best of the best are getting funneled in. And then when you leave, like, they're saying, congratulations, your honorarium is going to your charity of choice. We don't skip on anything. And then you jump to the 1970s. That's when you get the speed goo. And in the 1970s, things have gone bad. The introduction. Greetings, friend. I'm Cave Johnson, CEO of Aperture Science. You might know us as a vital participant in the 1968 Senate hearing on missing astronauts. And you most likely use one of the many products we've invented, but that other people have somehow managed to steal from us. Right now, you might be asking yourself, Cave, just how difficult are these tests? What was in that phone book of a contract I signed? Am I in danger? Let me answer those questions with a question. Who wants to make $60 cash?
They're giving $60 to homeless people.
Yes, to do the tests. And they also offer you an additional $60 if you allow them to take you apart and put some science gizmos into you.
They're just going to put some science stuff into you. It's fine.
He's like indignant that people don't want to do it too. He's like, hey, come on. We know what we're doing here. We're scientists.
We're not banging rocks together here. We know how to put a man back together. We're scooping out tumors. You should be paying us. Yeah, so like that's really good. And then in the 80s, you get like the complete downfall because Cave Johnson, he spent the last of his fortune buying moon rocks to grind up just because he thought that'd be cool, I guess. And it turns out that moon rocks are incredibly poisonous. And so he's the remaining tests are basically like, we're gonna find out if jumping through portals can leach the lunar poison out of a man's bloodstream. And so you get kind of his breakdown, and you also kind of find out the origins of GLaDOS. So they put together a machine that's going to be, he starts thinking, okay, these tests are super dangerous. It's cheaper to use computers, and you start seeing signs and posters that say like, is my job being automated? And they're like, yes, because humans are better, computers are better than you. And then you find out that there was a machine that was supposed to take his personality and make him into a all-living robot, and instead his assistant, Carolyn, ends up being the person who ends up in a robot because she outlives him. And that is
it's not
GLaDOS.
It's not quite clear whether she was like forced into it or not. It's implied that she was.
Yeah, she'll argue. She says she can't. She's modest like that, but you make her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you find out that GLaDOS has this little part of herself that's Carolyn. And then, I just really like that whole arc, right? You see this build-up of a company in true, like, 1950s, the world is our oyster, America can do anything sort of way. Then you get the 70s of stagflation and everything's gone sideways, and we're just going to do whatever we can with what we can. And then the 80s, just like the complete downfall of this company. And automation, robots, computers. I think there's a good mirroring of like the national mood at the same time. That I think is interesting in a game that didn't necessarily need to be that historically grounded. I mean, Portal 1 could have taken place anywhere at any time, right? So making it kind of reflect America to a certain degree, I think was really interesting. And especially like that midwestern pull yourself up by the bootstraps attitude. And then what did you think, Pete, of kind of like the final turn when you're up against Wheatley?
So there's an interesting sort of dichotomy between Wheatley and GLaDOS. That like GLaDOS is actively malevolent, but she's at least competent. Whereas Wheatley is so incompetent to be worse than GLaDOS. So like there's this strange thing where it's like, okay, malice is less of a threat than just sheer horribleness at your job. Basically, it's basically malice versus stupidity, and Portal comes down on the side of like stupidity might be worse. It reminded me of a thing I once read. I forget what book this was in. It might have been in Steal This Book, actually. Either that or Labor Law for the Rank and Filer, where this guy was making the point that like, look, the amount of damage any entry-level employee could do is so astronomical that really all you should have to do is walk into your boss's office and say, look, I promise not to screw anything up, and here's the salary I want for not actively sabotaging this company every day. And like that would be a reasonable trade for the CEO to make.
Yeah, that is an interesting point. And I think like they do a good job of saying that Wheatley is basically, he was designed, GLaDOS describes it as the greatest minds of a generation got together to make the stupidest person imaginable, and that's him.
They called him an intelligence dampening sphere, and that's what Wheatley was. And then he was designed to be a moron and make her stupider. And when he got pulled off of her, that's when she became GLaDOS that we know. And then now he's in control of all of the facility.
Yeah,
It's great.
And he takes a very similar approach to, I think, like the Aperture way. Like, oh, there's an alarm going off. Well, I turned off the alarm, so it's okay. And like he's starting to do tests because I guess the body he's in gives him rewards when he conducts tests well. But he's too dumb to make tests. So he just finds a bunch of tests. And he's like, oh, I found some tests. I tossed all the corpses out of them, and they're good as new. So you're going to do these tests. And I just really enjoy his incompetence. Like, I read all the books. Machiavelli. That's the hardest one. But yeah, it's just really fun seeing the incompetence and the fact that you're just kind of put in this position of allying with your enemy from the first game, because at the end of the day, you want someone who might kill you but will keep the nuclear reactor under control. rather than the person who will just blow everyone up. You might be dead either way, but one of them is less damage.
Is Wheatley villainous? Like, should we be glad when he gets thrown into space at the end?
I feel like being thrown into space is a worse crime than being killed. Like, that's a worse punishment than dying, right? Being alone for all eternity.
I think so. But like I feel like Wheatley is a victim of circumstance.
True. The only reason he went nuts is because he got put into GLaDOS's frame, I guess.
Yeah. Like I don't think Wheatley's necessarily a bad person computer in general.
Yeah, he's just incompetent. Like, he shouldn't be in charge of anything.
But did he need to get sent to space for that?
Yeah, space was really that's too far. He should have just been killed. But being trapped with a space sphere in space for all time.
Yeah, that's the joke. That they could have the post-credit scene where they're like floating along. He's like, damn, wish I didn't do that.
He's like, yeah, if I could meet him again, I'd say sorry. I'm like, okay. You're pretty good.
And then the Space Corps was a meme for a long time after this game came out. I don't think it is anymore.
Yeah, the Space Sphere is great. I mean, Rick the Adventure Sphere is very good.
Mm-hmm.
The Fact Sphere is also very good. That just says completely fake facts.
The fact sphere is not defective. Its facts are wholly accurate and very interesting. That is a quote from the Fact Corps.
Do you have any of the other facts from the Fact Corps at your fingertips?
I got the whole. Let's see. In Greek myth, Prometheus stole fire from the gods and gave it to humankind. The jewelry he kept for himself. The most poisonous fish in the world is the orange ruffy. Everything but its eyes are made of a deadly poison. The ruffy's eyes are composed of a less harmful deadly poison. Whales are twice as intelligent and 3 times as delicious as humans. The first person to prove that cow's milk is drinkable was very, very thirsty.
These are all excellent facts.
See, you should just have read some of these for the fun fact.
I should have. It didn't even occur to me. It would have made my job so much easier.
Yeah. Well, you can save that for next time. An Easter egg.
Yeah, it's very good. I just really enjoyed this game. We did not unfortunately get a chance to play the co-op because Em, I wanted to play with you, but you were like, it's gonna ruin our friendship.
I didn't say that. I was just tired that day.
Oh, that's fair.
Em was just thinking that.
But also, everyone in the Discord was like, oh, you got to play the co-op version because it's really good. But also, you will want to kill each other. I was like,
maybe not today.
Maybe not right this second when I'm already tired, and then we never got a chance to play it. Yeah, but if you would like us to play it, give us some money.
Yeah, join the Discord. But yeah, I watched some of it. There's some good GLaDOS pitting the 2 robots because the co-op is 2 robots that are designed to test, and it gets foreshadowed kind of at the end of the GLaDOS section. That I forget if it's the GLaDOS section or the Wheatley section. One of the 2 sections, they say that they found these robots who are capable of testing, so they don't need you anymore, and that's why GLaDOS is going to kill you. And this is kind of the story of those 2 robots doing the tests. So you get a lot of good, like, GLaDOS pitting the 2 robots against each other, being like, you know, this robot, I'm not saying that there are points that you're being assigned on, but there are points, and you are being judged on the points. And then she's just like, you know, some games involve getting fewer points, and that makes you the winner. I'm not going to tell you what kind of game this is, but I just thought it'd be interesting if one of you wanted to win. You get the good one-liners, and the co-op tests are interesting. Like, they are much more involved because each of you have a full portal gun. So there's a lot more moving people around. You have 4 portals available to you, which just makes the total amount of functional puzzle space much larger. So yeah,
How
maybe we
how
can
are
check it out.
how are the portals linked to each other? Is it still like blue to orange, or is it like
No. So it's
oh,
a blue robot and an orange robot. The blue robot has a blue portal and a purple portal, and they're linked to each other. And the orange robot has an orange portal and a red portal, and they're linked to each other.
I see. Okay,
Uh,
because I thought it was gonna be like you have one color and I have the other color, and then I have to, time my shot right so you don't. Probably is like that.
no,
I
I
don't.
mean, you do some of that, I think, later on because you will need to jump into your partner's portal and vice versa. But you have a full portal gun and they have a full portal gun, and they are all of your 2 portals are linked to each other. Their 2 portals are linked to each other. So at the very least, it's not like you each have half a gun, or like my first portal is connected to your first portal, my second portal is
Right.
connected to your second portal. It is. I am autonomous, you are autonomous, but we're going to need to combine our efforts to achieve these puzzles because, I need to stand on this circle so that you can move past this grid or something like that. Or we need 4 total portals to achieve this puzzle. But yeah, it's
Sounds
interesting.
complicated.
And they also put out the Perpetual Testing Initiative, which is a level maker.
Mhm. Yep. Did you mess with that at all?
I didn't, but the level, I love the in-universe explanation for it. That they got the ability to tunnel into parallel universes, and they're stealing the tests from those parallel universes.
That's fun.
So they're like, we're out of budget, but in other universes, we're not out of budget. So we're going to take these. We've designed these tests. We're putting the test designs in the stack of tests to be made in these other universes, and then once they make the test, we break into the universe and steal them, which is great. I just did you see any of the secrets in this game? Did any of you discover any of the secret areas? Like there was a turret choir that you can find.
No, I saw it at the very end, like when you take the elevator ride to the surface.
Mhm.
Okay, they're in a level. You can actually go behind a grate. Like there's that level with the laser beam where you need to shine the laser through the wall to blow up those turrets. There's a turret like behind a grate. You don't have to kill that turret, but if you do kill that turret, it reveals that there is an underground area where there are just 4 turrets that are off duty, just singing to themselves.
That's fun.
Which is very cute. There's a few sections like that. Did you save the turret on the destruction line?
Yes. I saved it until I got to the door where it disintegrates, and then I was like, well, I guess this is where we part ways, and I left it there.
Yeah, same. I just love that you're walking past and it goes, I'm different.
Different. It says it's if you keep it around for a little while, it starts saying like weird stuff. I didn't get a chance to hear it because
It
it
said
got
Prometheus was cast out of heaven for providing fire to man.
yeah.
It's not the same quote as the fact sphere, but it is. It's got some quotes like that.
Mm-hmm. Is it the correct quote from the Fat Core's like weird quotes?
I am not sure if they are connected. Let me see. Portal to defective turret. Defective turret voice lines. Not the crap turrets. No. I would need to find which one because it's just one specific turret. Portal 2 destruction line? Different turret. Okay, yeah, different turret comes up. The Oracle turret. Okay, it's a friendly turret. It countered twice in Portal 2. It's never named. Let's see. So it says get mad, don't make lemonade.
Yeah.
It says Prometheus was punished by the gods for giving the gift of knowledge to man. He was cast into the bowels of the earth and pecked by birds. It Won't Be Enough. That's another one. The Answer is Beneath Us is another one, which, yep, you get the Cave Johnson stuff beneath you. Her Name is Caroline. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I can say is the last quote that it says.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's just basically hints at stuff that's coming, which is cool.
Yeah, the Prometheus quote was the one that I saw, and as soon as it came up, I hit the wall where it disintegrates, and I didn't get a chance to hear the whole thing. But I was like, "Whoa, hold on," and then went back and saw that.
Yeah, so the bird, remember GLaDOS, she gets turned into a potato and then gets pecked by a bird in the bowels of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Prometheus, eh?
Whoa,
Get it?
I see.
Oh shit, you're right.
It's the classics.
Yep. Yeah, so I mean, this game's really good. The writing's really good. Eric Wolpaw, great writer. I don't think he's worked on a game that wasn't incredibly well written. Former game reviewer. I believe he worked for GameSpot for a bit, where he came up with Wolpaw's Law.
What is that?
Wolpaw's Law is that you do not need to finish a game to have a valid opinion on it.
Yay!
If you've played 10 hours and had a negative experience at the game, you do not have to play another 10 hours to know that you did not like it.
Okay, we've validated all of our game playing in the past.
Yeah, that was an old game review law that GameSpot would go off of, because it just, like, it makes sense, right? You don't need to play 80 hours of an 80-hour game if the first 20 are mediocre.
Unless it's Final Fantasy XIV, in which case you need to play every patch, which I'm going to get you to do someday.
Yeah, so yeah, he would support the claim by saying that even if the payoff or ending was excellent, it wouldn't be enough to redeem everything that had preceded it. And if the game had been completed, it would be no different. The review would be no different.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's just good editorial decision, honestly, especially when games can be very, very long.
So our Final Fantasy XI assessment holds up, because we played about 10 hours of that game. Nothing happened.
Yep, and
I played 0. I don't like it either.
All right. So I think that covers it for Portal 2. Any closing thoughts?
Good game. 10 out of 10. Would play again. You should play it too.
If you haven't played it yet, you should probably give it a try. Especially if you like the first one. If you like the first one and didn't play this one, what are you doing?
Yeah. And I mean, the game design here is top notch. Like, this was Valve at the top of its powers. Like, the organic teaching of mechanics. I mean, the Valve rule of lighting, directing you in the way you're supposed to go, is in full effect in this game.
I was thinking about that a lot with this one. They do it all over the place.
Yeah.
Very well done.
If you are ever lost, look for a light source, and it will point you in the right direction. And they managed to make the levels that are supposed to feel like you're escaping from somewhere, that are supposed to be organic, managed to simultaneously feel organic and yet have clear puzzles inside of them. Like, they managed to take the puzzle design of the challenge rooms and apply them to organic spaces in ways that somehow feel both organic and trigger the parts of your brain to remember to use mechanics. It's impressive. In Portal 1, once they start using more organic spaces, it becomes much more shoot portal onto wall, step into portal, and that's the only way you interact with things. And in this game, they managed to keep the mechanics flowing all the way through. It's really impressive. Like, Portal 2, masterclass, really good game.
I will say, neither here nor there, I hate Valve's logo.
Oh, you don't like the man with
the
Valve in his
head?
Hate it.
I hate it so much.
It's kind of scary.
Don't like it. It's not great. It's upsetting to look at. All right.
That's
with that,
okay. Just start the game and never turn it off.
Yeah.
This
See
is
it
my
once.
Portal 2 television.
Mhm.
It is always on.
It tells jokes. So with that, Pete, it is once again your turn to pick. Are you continuing the year of bangers? What is your choice?
Oh man, I hope. I don't know too much about this game. I can't
Oh,
guarantee
no.
banger status. But I teased last time I was up that I was planning on picking strange horticulture in the future. We have now arrived at the future, so I am picking strange horticulture.
Damn it. I hate when yesterday's problem becomes current Gino's problem.
Mm-hmm.
But excellent. Strange horticulture
Damn it.
coming up next.
Forgot to buy it when it was on sale.
Oh no,
I
I bought
warned
it
you.
when it was on sale.
I told you.
Yeah, you did warn me. Oh,
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone who's been watching and listening. Reminder, you can get in touch with the show at DeepListensPod on Twitter, deeplistens.libsyn.com. We have our comment sections and deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com. You can support the show on patreon.com/deeplistens. We're also continuing our drive to raise money for the National Network of Abortion Funds. Donate if you can. Link in the episode description. Thank you, Em.
thank you. I'm going to give you another quote from the Fact Corps. In 1948, at the request of a dying boy, baseball legend Babe Ruth ate 75 hot dogs, then died of hot dog poisoning.
And I love that, like, that section of the game, you're on a timer, so they had to write a tight 4 minutes, and then the adventure sphere is like a tight 6.
Mm-hmm.
Like, each of them, I don't think repeat dialogue, or they very barely repeat dialogue. It's incredible. We need a tight 10 for this one. Ugh. Thank you, Pete.
Yep. I'm glad we're finally participating in the year of bangers. I hope I can continue the trend.
This game was
Excellent.
good.
Very
It
good.
does. And thank you, listeners. Till next time. Peace.